Hi, welcome to Empower Her. My name is Priya, and I am really excited to share this episode. This is episode two. And here we have a very special guest, Kishana. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you.
So, Kishana, we know each other from our basically where we work together, but we definitely had a good relationship when we were working together, and just how your work ethic was, and I know what kind of job responsibilities you had and how you managed and navigated that. I was really impressed with your ability to do that. And so, yeah, that's why I wanted to have you on this podcast because I just wanted to share your journey with other women and, ask you a little bit about how you're navigating your um, career and then also, your personal life as well, just so that other women can learn about it and take any advice that you have from your own life. So yeah, if you want to give a quick introduction about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first things first, thank you, Priya, for having me on your podcast. I'm very honored. Um, and just a little something about myself. I'm 27 years old, born and raised in Canada, Ottawa, Ontario. However, Um, just a little background about my family is my mom came to Canada or migrated to Canada when she was 13 years old. She came with her mother, which is my grandmother, and then her sisters. At that time, my grandpa was already in Canada
Mhm,
because he wanted a life for them here. So
mhm,
he was working, he had a business with his brother, and
mhm,
both of them were making money to bring our family over.
mhm,
So, growing up, my mother was a single mother,
mhm,
and a lot of the time we lived with my grandmother just
mhm,
because my mom was having to work multiple jobs in order to provide for my sister and I at the time. And
mhm,
so, just I think having those two strong women in my life like
mhm,
made me the person who I am today. And
mhm,
because of the opportunities that my mom necessarily didn't have,
mhm.
she made it a mission to ensure that my sister and I had those opportunities.
Right.
So very fortunate for the life I was given. There was some struggles and tribulations along the way.
Mhm,
Um, Also, like with having an illness, so I
mhm,
have an autoimmune disease, so that was also a struggle growing up. But
mhm,
I'm super fortunate that I was able to attend university
mhm.
um, and experience that, and then being where I'm at now, working in tech, and super fortunate for this life, and grateful for what those women
Yeah.
did for us in order to get here.
Yeah, yeah. And just hearing that is, such a huge inspiration to so many women, because obviously there are so many single women out there. And obviously with living in Canada, you hear so many stories of, just, a lot of families, a lot of single women, coming from different countries to have a better life here, and the kind of struggles and tribulations they have to go through is just very admiring. And obviously for their children in the future, it's something that definitely affects them. And it also there's a lot of learning that you get from that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm just curious on, you talked about how your mom came to Canada when she was 13. So what country did she immigrate from?
Mexico. She came
Oh.
from Mexico.
Mhm.
Um, did not know English at all. So that was also, yeah, they didn't know any English. So I
Yeah.
had to learn it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that is also, such a huge achievement in itself, because obviously English as a language is, kind of commonly used in Canada. So it's definitely not easy for an immigrant to come here and learn English. And, it takes a while for them to get comfortable and feel confident
For sure.
as well. So, um, yeah, so, and you also talked about your autoimmune disease. Do you feel comfortable talking a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. I feel like a lot of people. So I have an autoimmune disease called lupus. I
Hmm.
have this systematic lupus. Not a lot of people know what lupus is,
Hmm.
unfortunately,
Hmm.
but it attacks your body. So it does everything it possibly can to
Hmm.
attack you. And
Hmm.
so it affects a specific demographic.
Hmm.
Uh, so this is mainly found in women,
Hmm.
African American women,
Hmm.
and it can affect your kidney, it can affect your lungs, your blood, your
Hmm.
heart,
Hmm.
multiple different things. So I
Hmm.
actually, when I was first diagnosed, it was when I was 12 years old
Hmm.
with Sjogren's syndrome, which
Hmm.
is like a child of lupus, I would say,
Hmm.
or leading up to it. And
Hmm.
then when I turned 18, that's when I found out, when my rheumatologist had told me, well, it's actually
Hmm.
not that you have lupus.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, yeah, just like the medication associated with it, and um,
Hmm.
trying different things to test out like how to, because it's not curable at the
Hmm.
moment, but it
Hmm.
can be sustained, or
Hmm.
you can, some of the symptoms, you can sustain them.
Hmm.
However, it's something that will always be prevalent in my life,
Hmm.
especially when there's like a flare up. But
Hmm.
even the medication, like I've been on medication for lupus for quite some time now,
Hmm.
especially when I was diagnosed when I was 18,
Hmm.
and now being 27, we are
Hmm.
finding that the medication that I'm on currently doesn't really work because my body has become so used to it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
even finding alternate ways to treat my lupus,
Hmm.
um, an example being a treatment program that they're trying to put me on
Hmm.
that is currently $21,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, like, okay, when you
Hmm.
think about it, you're like, okay, well, I do have insurance. So let's see if
Hmm.
insurance can, like, cover
Covered.
that. It's
Yeah.
a great thing that the program itself covers 50%, which is nice, but you're looking at still about $900 a month. And
Hmm.
so when you think about it, I'm still waiting for an answer from insurance. They
Hmm.
initially declined my
Hmm.
request just
Hmm.
because I think their reason was, um, I'm a first time user of this treatment, which is very
Hmm.
strange. And the second being that my lupus is not as it's not as serious as other lupus. Yeah. So it's kind of weird because it's like, okay, but you don't understand
Hmm.
what I have to go through day by day. So
Yeah.
it's a bit silly when you think about it because it's
Hmm.
like I feel like I'm doing all the right things. I'm
Yeah.
working. I have insurance. Like
Hmm.
what's going wrong? Why isn't this working out? Why are they telling me no? So
Hmm.
um, my doctor, my rheumatologist is going to appeal it. She is a
Hmm.
great rheumatologist, and
Hmm.
we'll see what happens then. But I feel like it's just a constant battle day by day, and like always
Hmm.
having to like find
Yeah.
a way around things. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, I'm sorry you're going through that because that is definitely not fair. And yeah, that doesn't make your journey easier.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, the healthcare system, whether it's like insurance or, any other kind of, organizations that are under the healthcare system,
Mhm.
I mean, it's obviously flawed.
Yeah.
And I've heard so many stories where, people have to go through so many, ups and downs when it comes to like insurance and, going through the healthcare system and all that. And yeah, what they don't understand is how, it makes your journey harder, which is, obviously not really easy to go through.
Yeah.
So yeah, there definitely needs to be a lot of, um, I would say, information and knowledge. And I'm glad that you're speaking about it
Mhm.
because I think there's definitely a need to for people to speak about these things and share their struggles so that
Sure.
someone can do something about it. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
um, so I was, just looking at your profile on LinkedIn. And yeah, I just wanted to, know what your journey is when it comes to your career. So I did see that, you had done a bachelor's in criminology, if I'm right. So yeah, just wanted to talk about that because as a graduate, I remember when I did my graduation, it was completely different from what I thought that my career journey would be, where I am today. And yeah, just wanted you to shine a light on, okay, why did you decide to do criminology?
Hmm.
And then what do you think about it now?
Yeah.
It's obviously it's been a few years since you graduated, and now you are on a different career path. And so now, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, great point you brought up. Thank you. Okay. um, it's actually kind of funny because I am not doing anything related to criminology right now. And
Yeah.
so I guess to like kind of back it up a bit, in terms of when I mentioned about having the opportunities that my mom didn't have at the
Hmm.
beginning. So I thought like my mom was always super encouraging. Never there was never pressure on her end to like say,
Hmm.
okay, you need to go to school. It was always encouraging, like this is an option. Like you should see if this is something you want to do, and we will help you along the way to make sure you achieve this. Things are paid for
Hmm.
example. So, but I think I put the pressure on myself as being one of the first from like my immediate family to attend post secondary.
Hmm.
Um, so I think I put that pressure where it was like, okay, well, I need to go to university. Like it's not an option. It's not a question. I need to
Hmm.
also show my younger siblings
Hmm.
or my younger cousins that I was super close with, who
Yeah.
also my grandma took care of as well. I have to set an example, right? And
Hmm.
so I was like, well, what do I do?
Hmm.
I've always thought about maybe becoming a doctor, because I had been in and out of the hospital a lot. So I kind of wanted to provide that back,
Hmm.
to other people as well.
Hmm.
But I didn't necessarily have the grades to become a doctor.
Hmm.
Um, and so I kept thinking, what do I do? And I
Hmm.
remember clear as day, there was one time I was in class in high school and I was with my peers and everybody was talking about like what they want to do. They were so
Hmm.
set in their decision, like I'm
Hmm.
going for poli sci, I'm going for law. Like it was so specific. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. I
Hmm.
had no idea. And so it wasn't until like I was like, okay, maybe I should start thinking about this. And so I would browse the course options, and criminology was one of them at Carleton. And I was
Hmm.
like, you know what, this seems pretty interesting. I do see myself working within that field. And
Hmm.
so um, now when I think about it, I think it was just like it wasn't a pure decision. It was just like a okay, this works. I think I can do this. Going into it, the first 2 years weren't the greatest. I did enjoy it, but I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
But because money was so tight,
Hmm.
I didn't have the option to start over again.
Hmm.
Or
Right.
I didn't think to like voice that, like, I don't like this. I thought there was so many eyes on me. I
Yeah.
thought money was tight.
Hmm.
It just wasn't feasible at the
Hmm.
moment. So I
Hmm.
just pushed through and then I started looking at other options. Okay, what's happening
Hmm.
within this field? What can I do? I
Hmm.
think I had set like on like a correctional officer.
Hmm.
That's the path I wanted to take
Hmm.
until, I graduated and then I took a little bit of a break. So I was like, I just need a little break. And
Hmm.
then it wasn't until, a recruiter reached out to me and said, these places um are hiring for a BDR. And I was like, a
Hmm.
BDR, what is that? I have no idea. I don't know anything about the tech industry. I
Hmm.
was like, sure, why not? Let's give it a shot. And then I did. And I love working in tech. Um,
Mhm.
not something that I thought I was going to be doing ever, but I've just been so fortunate, and I'm super grateful for where I am right now.
Mhm.
Um, and I truly do. I do love it. So it's something I do want to continue doing with my
Yeah,
life.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Hmm.
and I can definitely testify that you are amazing at your job.
Oh, thank you.
Um, yeah. So if you had to give advice to, women or men or, any people who are graduating right now, or maybe they just graduated, what advice would you give to them when it comes to, like, their career and what they're thinking about their future?
Yeah, I think I would say like take your time. Um, there's so much ahead of you that there's no rush to get into things. It may seem like it is depending on your situation, but I think it will benefit you if you just wait. And if you don't, it's not a big deal. You can always pivot.
Mhm.
There's so many opportunities out there. Um, you can look into different avenues and yeah, you never feel like you're stuck. Reach
Mhm.
out to the people closest to you or network as much as you can,
Mhm.
and people will be there to at least provide advice or give you some sort of guidance. Just don't be afraid to ask for help when you need
Mhm.
help, or don't be
Mhm.
afraid to voice your opinions when you need to voice them, because there's always
Mhm.
going to be someone there listening, no matter what. I guarantee.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's great advice, and I hope people take it. So let's talk a little bit about your current role, because why I wanted to talk about it, because obviously, there are certain roles and certain field of careers that we have that, you know are more known, I would say. So obviously, everybody knows sales,
Mhm.
everybody knows business development, everybody knows marketing. So people know, kind of like, they have an idea on, what the job responsibilities are, and, what kind of career path you have if you go into those fields. But when it comes to, like, certain fields, I would say they're lesser known. People don't really know much about it. And I
Mhm.
feel like, channel is, or partnership, we have different terms for it, but we don't really know much about these roles. So I just feel like if you can talk about, what um, the job responsibilities are and what this field is a little bit about, especially in tech, I think that would help our audience as well.
For sure. I think channel is a beautiful thing. I didn't know what channel was even when I was a BDR. Um, I had no idea that channel was a thing, but
Mm,
it's basically just makes a company more accessible, I think,
mm,
just because there's certain things like market access, logistics, or finance that prevents certain like either prospects or customers from um, transacting with a specific company. So
mm,
giving them those avenues, giving them um, more options to purchase the way that they like, just makes a company super accessible. So
mm,
that's why I like channel, because it's just another way
mm,
to transact.
mm,
Um, there's a lot more involvement in terms of like procurement and like
mm,
documentation and stuff like that, but
mm,
um, it is definitely worth it. In
mm,
terms of responsibilities, I like to consider myself the middle woman,
mm,
someone just ensuring that processes are being met, or um, the team is
mm,
uh, functioning well,
mm,
uh, and then just like creating processes,
mm,
automating processes to make everyone else's job on the team easier in
mm,
terms of like what they do.
mm,
Um, I have a lot of, I would say, knowledge
mm,
about our company. And so
mm,
just being that person that people can go to ask
mm,
questions
mm,
is super helpful.
mm.
There's a ton of things
Yeah.
within this position. I think
Mm,
every day is super different. Like I that's the thing, right? You get
Yeah.
different questions, you get different
Mm,
issues that you
mm,
need to solve, and
mm,
so it's very hard to like pinpoint specific
mm,
responsibilities
mm.
because essentially you're doing a lot,
Yeah.
um, but you're
Mm,
following a specific procedure, you're following a specific process that's set, and so
mm,
just ensuring that you're abiding by your
mm.
partner's
Right.
agreements as well as what your company is agreeing to as well. So
Mhm. Definitely.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so with the obviously with the field in channel, with I was when I was working in customer success, I I think the part that I enjoyed the most was, just the part of, having conversations and, building those relationships, or like nurturing relationships was
Mhm.
like the specific part of the job that I liked the most. So, is there anything specific about this role that you enjoyed the most?
Yeah, I would say like I mentioned the part about every day is different.
Yeah,
Like I just get a different like
problem to solve like every
problem
day.
to
Yeah.
solve. And that's what I love. I love problem solving. So it's just like a little not a game, but like it's like,
Mm,
okay, what am I gonna get today? And what am I gonna do? How am I gonna do this? And so it's also the feeling after the fact, right? So
mm,
when you solve something and then it just like either makes someone's day, it makes your
mm.
day, or you just know that you're helping someone
Yeah,
that needs the help, and then it just makes you feel so good.
yeah,
But yeah.
definitely. Yeah, yeah, because obviously there are, different types of people, and people enjoy different parts of a job.
For sure.
So, some people might like, okay, I like predictability. I want like the same kind of work every day so that I'm kind of knowing what I'm doing. And but there can be other people where they're like, no, I think this is too monotonous for me. I want like different challenges every day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are looking for, a job, and you want a role where basically, you're working with different kinds of people, and then, also managing relationships, and you like, being challenged every day, and, facing new problems every day and solving those problems,
Yeah.
then, you should definitely look into channel. So that's what I wanted to talk about career wise. But when it comes to the future, so what do you hope for yourself? What are your dreams when it comes to, your career, maybe in the next 5 years, 10 years? I don't really like putting timeline or things.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll leave that out. But basically, in the future, what do you hope for yourself?
In the future, whenever that is, whenever that happens, I really do enjoy the work that I do,
Mhm,
and so my hope is to continue to advance within the operational side of things.
mhm,
Like I said, problem solving is probably one of my favorite things to do.
mhm,
So I would love to continue that path, but also expand on my skills
mhm,
today. What are
mhm,
some things that I'm missing that like I can learn from my team today?
mhm,
Um, because everybody has their specific skills that they're really good at, right? Um,
mhm,
you may not be 80% on a specific skill,
mhm,
but you know your peers or your coworkers are. So just expanding on that, having those conversations, networking to get the help that I
mhm,
need, maybe taking some courses. But
mhm,
I would love to continue where I'm at, but
mhm.
just improve on my skills if I could, because I think that would be super important.
Yeah,
Not just for career growth, but for personal growth as well.
yeah,
Um, I just want to be able to achieve that as an
mhm,
individual, and I always want to grow. So that's something
definitely.
that's super important to me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And if we talk about, whether it's personal, whether it's career wise, has, does something come to your mind when, it comes to like mistakes or learning? So what is like the biggest lesson that you might have learned in the recent years, maybe from others, or maybe from, a mistake that you made, or yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think probably maybe to like something I've probably struggled with is like trying to get to point B at
Hmm.
like the fastest possible rate. But like even like when I mentioned about like school, I
Hmm.
was trying to get to point B so fast that I
Hmm.
wasn't even, or point C, I
Hmm.
guess,
Hmm.
that I was trying to skip point B. So
Hmm.
I think like a lot of the times like we can be very ambitious individuals, but
Hmm.
we also need to like let reality set in a little bit and say that
Hmm.
sometimes it's not possible. Like you
Yeah.
can't always, yeah, you can't
Yeah.
always get to the finish line so quick.
Hmm.
You need to be able to endure and adapt the situations that you are in.
Hmm.
Like that saying, slow and steady wins the race. In some cases,
Hmm.
this is the case. And
Hmm.
so I think like also with wanting to get things done so quickly or wanting to move at such a fast pace, there's more room for disappointment.
Hmm.
And so, um, or there's room for you to miss things that
Hmm.
could have been essential to your career, to your life, or your personal growth. And
Hmm.
so, if I if I could learn from that, I would
Hmm.
say just take things at a steady pace,
Hmm.
learn the things that you need to do, and things will come to you eventually,
Hmm.
if you continue to work hard for it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I relate to you with a lot of, like, the thing that you spoke before as well, being the eldest daughter,
Mhm.
and being an example for your siblings as well. So I am also the oldest of my siblings. I
Yes.
called it I call it the eldest daughter syndrome, where it's like, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. You're like, oh, I'm the one who's gonna do these things, because there are definitely a lot of firsts that happen with you in your
Yeah.
family. So yeah, I think, with that as well, I mean, something that I've learned is also, like, take it easy on myself too, as you talked about, like, personal growth. So that just came to my mind, because yeah, that's something that I've learned recently, that don't put so much pressure on yourself, and it's okay to take it easy, and
Yeah.
you don't have to be like, oh, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I think, that's something that a lot of, maybe eldest siblings that will relate to this, whether it's men or women. But
Mhm.
especially as women, I think, there's also a tendency to be like people pleasers, and
Yes.
like, oh, okay, I just want to please everyone, I just want to make everyone happy and whatever. So
Yeah. So
so
true.
so yeah, I hope, people who are listening, realize that, what Kishana talked about, and that, just take it slow and steady, and be patient with yourself, and you will definitely achieve whatever dreams you have. Um so yeah, I think, I will end by asking last question, which I usually, ask is, say 5 things about yourself that you're proud of.
um, okay. I'm proud that I keep going um despite like in terms of health that I keep going. I'm very proud that I like to stay active even though I have, doctors or my rheumatologist telling me I need to take a step back or take a break. I like that. I like where I am right now. I like how I'm progressing with my life and career. Um, what else do I like? I just like the person that I am today.
Mhm.
Um, a little bit more carefree,
Mhm.
easygoing. and just always there for the ones that I love or care about. Um, I don't know how many I've named. Okay,
That's about five. So yeah, I think we'll
that's
take
good.
it. But yeah, I think another thing that I wanted to mention here was, obviously we all have different struggles and challenges, and it is so important that, another thing that you mentioned was asking for help and, getting support from anywhere you can. So obviously having like a support system is really necessary. So whether it's like your family or whether it's your friends. So yeah, I just want to put it out there that, ask for help. There is no shame in asking for help, whether it's your colleagues, whether it's, a friend.
Hmm.
So definitely reach out to people whenever you need any kind of help.
For
I
sure.
hope this episode was really helpful to people. We talked about different things, and again, I really want to thank you, Kishana, for sharing your different parts of life. And I hope people learn from this. I hope that your message goes across. And yeah, in the end, I am just thankful that you came here and shared your story. So thanks again. And hopefully I can invite you again on our
For sure, yeah.
podcast.
No, thank you so much, Priya. I appreciate it. And I'm very honored to be a part of this. So thank you.
Yeah. And I hope you get well soon.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.